In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week. Now it's time for...
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's random.
Is that a fact?
Is that a fact?
4 random facts.
Sunglasses, which you need, again, a lot of today and probably for the rest of this week. Sunglasses, they first became popular about 100 years ago in the 1920s. Movie stars wore them to protect their eyes against reporters' flash bulbs.
Oh, yeah, because it would have been super bright, those old school bulbs.
Yeah.
Like the old school cameras.
That's right, and they made like a huge sound, huge pop to them. So that's how sunglasses first became popular. Not to protect your eyes against the sun or anything. It's flash bulbs.
Well, and I thought pilots wore them too when they were flying.
Sure, yeah.
But
because you've got the...
But then it really wouldn't have really gained in popularity until you see, famous people. The original influencers.
Right. The 1920s influencers. Now, we use them because of the sun.
So the sandwich was reportedly invented back in the 1700s by the Earl of Sandwich, John Montague. Apparently he came up with the idea because he didn't want to leave the gambling table to go and eat.
He just wanted to keep gambling. So just a quick snack. German chocolate cake, one of my favorites. Hint for maybe tomorrow when I turn 44.
Since it's your birthday.
Tomorrow's my birthday. German chocolate cake. It doesn't come from Germany. Did you know this? It was named for a person, Sam German, who created a type of baking chocolate for the Baker's Company in 1852.
So I guess we should all stop bringing German chocolate cake to any Oktoberfest parties.
No. That's fine. That's fine. Just don't tell them this.
It's still a delicious cake. I'm going to eat it anyway.
That's right. Still bring it.
And finally, you're going to try this.
Yeah.
It's impossible to hum while holding your nose.
So you hold your nose, you try to hum.
Hold it shut.
Okay. You can't do it.
Well, because you need to breathe somehow. And when you hum, your mouth is closed.
And how many people are going to try this and try and make it seem this is fake?
Don't drive off the road.
You can't hum and hold your nose at the same time. Happy trying that all day today.
Today's
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
So random.
Random.
Give the public the facts.
4 random facts.
Get your birthdays coming up in a moment. Our very own Mike Renier is celebrating his birthday today. So happy birthday to Mike.
Yes, we talked about it a bunch yesterday. And it was funny because we talked about this cat. It's like could be the world's oldest living cat right now. I forgot how old it is now. Like 26 or something.
31, I think.
No,
yes.
that's the dog. You sent me a video about a dog. That was like 31. No, this is a cat. Apparently, it's like 26 years old. And apparently in the story, they celebrated with a salmon cake. And Mike just wanted everyone to know that for his birthday, he would not like a salmon cake.
Salmon cakes. I remember my mom making something like that. And then tuna in like a loaf or something for him.
Oh, I remember salmon loaf now. And there'd always be those little round bones in it.
Has salmon gotten better? Because I can tell you, I think I shied away from salmon because around
At least canned salmon.
Well, we were a big family, right? 5 kids, my parents, and so you'd hear around the dinner table, bing, ding, ding, like we're spitting into a spittoon or something, because people are like throwing those little round, and then sometimes
I don't know. You
bones.
could eat them like they'd be really mushy, but still.
Sometimes not. You can lose a tooth on some of those bones. Like,
oh yeah, I remember doing salmon loaf, and then it was like meatloaf but with salmon, like canned salmon, and then you'd slice it up, and oh god,
tuna loaf. Too was another one.
I don't know if I ever had tuna loaf, but definitely salmon
cakes,
loaf.
You just gave me a flashback to that. And I mean, there are things I would make for my kids. That was one of the things I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Powdered potatoes. That was like a last resort.
Oh, instant potatoes? Mm-hmm. You know what? I've actually heard people using that to thicken up soups and stews.
Well, that's
that
probably
instant
a good
potatoes work really well for that.
They had sort of a sulfury taste to them. Like, imagine if you broke up matches and ate them.
Why would you do that?
I don't know why.
Would you break up matches and
but
eat
it's
them?
similar. It's similar, right? To that, just like having when you were a kid, did you ever have like the Swanson dinners or whatever, like the frozen dinners, and it was like you thought it was the bomb. You were a kid, and it was like, ooh, my mom's going out, dad's throwing in some frozen dinners.
No, but I always begged for Kraft mac and cheese, like Kraft dinner. And my parents never bought it, but my grandma would always get it for me. So anytime I was at her house, she'd like pull out a box of Kraft dinner, and she'd always melt the like extra cheese in it, like processed cheese slices.
I told that
Make
story
it extra cheesy
before, but for those that hadn't heard it, I hated Kraft dinner when I was a kid when my dad would make it, because he would do that sometimes with my mom. She was in a service club, she had a meeting. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. Like you're downing milk or water or whatever. Until I went to college and I was like, looking at the box.
You actually read the instructions.
Milk. You put milk in this?
Milk and butter? You don't just put the cheese sauce in?
You put the cheese sauce in the noodles and stir it around. We're eating that. And like, wow, this is so good. I was like loving it when I was in college.
Changed your life there. Oh.
Wow. So obviously, you know, when we went away on the weekend, we come back, first thing you do after collapsing a little bit is throwing stuff in the laundry. We were doing several loads of laundry, getting that done, and we do spend a lot of time in the laundry room, about 300 loads of laundry every year.
At least for the average family, because, you know, if you've got kids, it's a whole nother level of laundry that gets produced. And even though people are doing, you know, upwards of 5 loads of laundry a week, there is a chance you're doing it wrong, at least according to some new research from Consumers Reports. Consumer Reports says it's not necessary to wash your comforter every week unless your pet sleeps on your bed. They say every 3 weeks will do the job. Now, don't hold off for too long, though, because things like dust mites, bacteria, and dead skin cells can, you know, accumulate and trigger allergies and other skin irritations.
And as we've said before, when it comes to your sheets, at least once a week you should be throwing them in the laundry, and sooner if someone is sick. And something else I read too is you might want to even change out your pillowcases a couple of times a week, because your head is there and you're breathing in. You think of all the stuff that's floating around right now with all the, you know, the pollen in the air. Might be a good idea to do that.
And now that it's cooled down, you might have your windows to your house open a little more, and it's starting to, you know, those little fluffs might be floating into the house. And I would say, too, also change your pillowcases if you're someone, especially if you have kids that maybe suffer from, like, acne or breakouts. Changing that out can make a big difference.
Now, towels, they say, first of all, don't throw them on the floor. Always a struggle with teenagers. Hang it up. If you allow it to dry in between, you won't have to wash it as often. They say 3 to 5 days is when you should then change it out.
Now, there are some stuff that we need to be washing after every wear. Undergarments, obviously. T-shirts, socks, and especially gym clothes. Those should be washed after every use. But now when it comes to things like khakis and dress shirts, unless they're dirty, stained, or sweaty, they say save yourself the trouble and only wash them after maybe 3 wears. And jeans can go even longer.
Now, here's a big one where we're influenced by what we see. Don't overdo it with laundry detergent. More, not necessarily better. And most people are using twice as much as they really need, because the commercials show you're filling it up to the top.
But if little bit of soap is good, lots of soap must be very good, right? Like, you think that kind of thing. That's how my brain works.
Well, it's just like the toothpaste ads, right? They show the long thing with the swirl.
But then when you read the instructions, it says a pea size.
And another mistake many people making is putting stained clothes in the dryer before the stain is removed.
Yeah, so if you put it through the wash and then you put it in the dryer, once it goes in the dryer, the heat will set the stain, and then it's even harder to get rid of that stain. So you're better off to take it out, use a stain remover, and then wash it again.
You know what we found is really effective for removing stains? Because I had a shirt that I liked, and it had a stain on it, and our daughters actually suggested this. Dawn dishwashing liquid.
It's a degreaser. If you've ever gotten oil on something before, salad dressing.
Spills? You remember the ads from the oil spills? Yeah. And they were cleaning up seals and dolphins and whatever.
Think about that with salad dressing, right? You get that little mark on there and you're just like, oh, what do I do? Because you wash it and it doesn't get rid of it, but yeah.
It's worked every time so far. We've got some examples of law and disorder. There's been at least 3 reports from residents in Maryland who believe their prized Japanese koi fish have been stolen from backyard ponds.
About 100 fish are missing, and one of the victims says she doesn't believe a wild animal is to blame.
It's very strange. They would not nicely peel back the net, take the fish, and then replace the net. This leaves us with two-legged predators. Koi are not your basic carnival goldfish. They are Japan's national symbol. They are what the American eagle is to us. This is not your typical burglary, where people break in and steal your, grill or your mountain bike. This is very, very strange.
These fish can go for hundreds of dollars in the U.S. and tens of thousands in Japan.
Yeah, in case you're wondering why someone would steal a fish. In our second story, this guy decided to rob a store with a cardboard box on his head. Happened at a cell phone repair store in South Florida. He was spotted on security camera walking around with the box on his head, smashing display cases and stealing phones. But for some reason, he just raised the box at one point and showed his face to the security camera. So police were able to, freeze that image, and they used it to identify him and track him down and arrested him the same day.
Clearly he was in the system because they were able to find him pretty quickly.
But he made off with 19 iPhones, $8,000 in cash.
So I wonder if his mistake was he didn't cut any eye holes in the cardboard box, right? So it's like, oh man, I'm in here now I got to look around.
I was thinking about, what's that DJ? Marshmallow, with the thing that he wears on his head when he performs.
So maybe that was the issue. We needed a better helmet, as it were.
He was improvising with a box.
Well, these two stories are connected because of Spiderman. Spiderman, friendly neighborhood Spiderman. Yeah, so it's an interesting couple of stories.
So the first one, 2 men were arrested following a police chase in Virginia over a stolen car. 2 others escaped, and one of them was apparently dressed as Spider-Man.
Well, that happened in Virginia, and then in Tennessee, a man robbed a mall kiosk twice while wearing a Spider-Man mask, and they fired him. He's facing 2 counts of burglary of a building.
So, of course, they knew who this guy was. They literally just fired him from working at the kiosk, and then he shows up to try to rob them.
I know what I'm going to do. I'll come dressed as Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Welcome fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang. Wherever there's a hang, you'll find a Spider-Man.
You still have a VCR at home?
I do. It's in the closet, though. It's not plugged in, but I keep it because I do have some movies and other tapes of stuff, different volleyball games and things from when I was younger on those tapes. So if I ever want to watch them back, right, what else am I going to do?
It was first introduced on this date in 1975, the Sony Betamax, and then hot on its heels, it was their rival, the VHS format by JVC.
Now, that JVC system was quite pricey. It set you back about $1,200. About $4,600 with adjusted to inflation. The blank tapes were not cheap either. They were $20, and it was still appealing though because you could record a movie on it, like it was 2 hours long that you could record. Versus the Betamax one, it had about half that capacity, only about an hour long.
Yeah, Betamax, better quality tapes, but yeah, it was limited in some ways too, and they also lost the war when it came to marketing, right? And I remember, you're probably too young, but you could rent them at the video store. In the early days when, the Blockbusters and the Jumbo videos were first starting to come out, they were so expensive, not a lot of people had them at home. So it almost felt like, wow, you're special. You're renting a VCR, right? And you got that big metal box that will go along with it. Well, let's go back to some old school ads from back in the day.
In times past, only the wealthy could afford a 4-head cable-ready VCR with multi-event programming and a dockable remote control.
The HR7100 video recorder from JVC, a 10-day timer and full-function remote control.
The new Sony Betamax SL5000. It even has remote control and beta scan.
The Sony Betamax is only $699.
Radio Shack has something for everyone, like this compact VHS VCR with 13-function wireless remote control for just $449.95.
Extra durable space-age materials. Better engineered, best warranty. That's the Hitachi touch.
Buy the Sanyo Model 3900 for only $599 with high-speed search in forward and reverse, instant freeze framing, remote control, fast rewind, records programs up to 3 days in advance.
Well, considering the weather quality and the air quality, maybe fire up a movie on the VHS today. Go and celebrate VCR Day. Apple unveiled its new mixed reality headset on Monday at their developers conference, and their CEO said the device blends virtual reality and augmented reality and is the first product you look through, not at.
So apparently the technology allows you to overlay virtual images on live video of the real world. And they say it could be used to replace computer monitors, televisions, and gaming systems.
So you're wearing your computer on your head?
Pretty much. It's not cheap, though. The first version of it is going to cost about $3,500 US. And yeah, I don't know about that.
So it makes me think of like the first VCRs and whatnot back in the day and how expensive those were. So they say the device responds to a user's voice, hands, and eyes as if your mind is guiding the experience. I don't know, man. The way technology is going now with AI and now this kind of thing, I don't know about it.
I'm just making a face at this because I don't know about you. When I was a kid, I remember my parents and my grandparents yelling at me, don't sit too close to the TV. You're going to hurt your eyes. Versus now in 2023, where we're going to be wearing a TV literally on our face.
Just put your TV right on your head. Busy weekend planned as we were just talking about the statue dedication. Well, we have the man in studio with us right now.
Yeah, the guy who, it's your statue. It's a statue of you going up in downtown Chatham, Hall of Famer, Fergie Jenkins. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
So how weird is it to see a statue of yourself pitching in your prime, going up in your hometown?
Well, it's a duplicate statue they erected in Chicago almost a year and a half ago on Gallagher Way, along with my other teammates, Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, and Ron Santo. I tell people it's an honor to have the statue by far, but then now you're having it in your hometown. Believe me, I'm pretty humbled the fact that it's going to be here, and my grandkids are going to see it, my friends, teammates I used to play hockey, baseball with here, some of my schoolmates that are still living in the Chatham area. But the Kent County area and Chatham was my home for almost 30 years.
So, I mean, for you, it's almost like a family reunion, but also get together with so many friends, too, right, this week?
Oh, totally, yeah. I lived in Blenheim for 15 to 18 years, and coming home to see my kids. And now all three of my daughters are living here. Kimberly, who worked with the First Ontario Credit Union in Burlington, now works here now in Chatham. And Dolores is here, and Kelly's here.
I love that. So how did Chatham and, Kent County, how did that really shape you, into becoming a baseball pitcher?
I look back as a kid, lucky situation, right place, right time. Played sandlot ball, played hockey, basketball for John McGregor and CVS. Gene DeJura came here in 1958. I'm 15 years old at the time. And I didn't pitch. But we had pitchers on our ball club. Dennis Roebuck, Matt Cundall, Larry Myers, and Jack Howe, I think it was. And he wanted to know why I hadn't tried to pitch. I said, well, I'm a first baseman. Eddie Robinson and I were the two first basemen on the ball club. He said, well, you got to try to pitch. So he started working me out throwing. And I enjoyed that position. I started throwing. I got lucky. I threw a couple of one-hitters and no-hitter. When I was 17, scouts started coming to Chatham. And, I just think that right place, right time. And lucky to have Gene here at the time, getting scouted, signed at 18, went off to play as a professional with a Philly organization, stayed in their organization 2.5 seasons, then got traded to the Cubs. And I tell people all the fundamentals I learned as a pitcher in the Philly organization, I displayed as a Cub.
So do you look at the game now, Fergie, and see, and kind of shake your head a little at pitch counts and pulling pitchers in the 7th inning or sooner, and they're like, oh, you're up to 90 pitches now.
Yeah, it's totally changed. Yeah, at one time, I tell people 4 or 5 years ago, you could throw 100 pitches. You could maybe throw 5-6 innings. Because if you have a large pitch count in the 2nd or 3rd inning, that cuts down your opportunity to get further into the game. Mm-hmm. I used to throw 150, 160 pitches in a 9-inning ball game and win it, and then the game's over, complete ball game.
And you were batting too, right?
Yeah, I hit. I enjoyed that part of it, going to the plate. I wasn't afraid to hit against a guy like Drysdale or Koufax, Seaver, Carlton. These guys, because they were pretty good athletes, and they're going to knock me off the plate, but I'm looking to hit that fastball. If they lay it in there, I'm going to try to put good wood on it.
Because you've had a few home runs, too, right?
I had 13 home runs in the big leagues. I had 6 one season.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of RBIs, a lot of base hits. But, the fun part of it, I think an athlete can use all his ability. Being able to run the bases, being able to bunt, hit, and also pitch and field your position. So I think that really helps you to me as a pitcher, you become a total athlete.
So what are you looking forward to the most tomorrow? Or is there anything to look forward to? Just the whole day in general?
I'm going to be surprised to see a lot of new faces maybe, or faces I hadn't seen for a while, and just have fun. Maybe see a lot of teammates and fellow classmates that I haven't seen for a while. But it's always fun to come home. The nice thing about it is my kids are healthy, my grandkids are healthy, and they're going to be here, and they're going to help unveil it. I think it's going to be good for them, too.
Amazing. A blessing. Fergie, thank you so much for coming in today. Looking forward to tomorrow in downtown Chatham.
I'm looking forward to it. And it should be fun.
Have a great day.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.